All right, what's going on, people? Anthony Williams from moneyclubhouse.com coming at you with another video, another tip. I want to read something, and it's a good book that I've been reading about how the poor can save capitalism. It's a book right here, authored by John Hope Bryant. If you haven't picked yourself up a copy, definitely pick yourself up a copy. I actually seen this book in a recommended reading from Dan Kennedy's newsletter. So definitely, if you don't know about this guy right here, he talks about the middle class and what are some of the ways that we can go about actually redefining what it is that we consider poverty in America. But I want to read something from here real quick so I can share some thoughts that I had here earlier. So it says, the poor are not what we might think they are. The traditional government method of gauging poverty is understandably financial and almost strictly physical, measured in what's called absolute terms. The federal government defines the poor in America as those who are approximately $23,050 a year for a family of four. The U.S. Census Bureau reports that 16% of American population lives in poverty, including 20% of our children. And all of the numbers have gotten worse in the past 20 years. In fact, between the ages of 25 and 75, 58.4% of Americans will spend at least 1 year below the government-defined poverty line. However, the federal government poverty statistics, accurate though they may be, do not in any way define the absolute state of the American experience of poverty. The real poverty must be battled is a state of being rather than a simple statement of financial condition. It is much more connected to aspiration, emotion, psychology, and a hope than it is to a financial or material analysis. Therefore, my approach reflects behavioral rather than traditional economics. Okay, so I read that part right there, and I was reading this book, and it's very interesting how he defines the middle class and how, you know, the poor in America nowadays are not who we think that they are, as opposed to what we see statistic-wise in the media. When we think of poor, we think of people that, you know, that's destitute, that's, you know, don't have enough for anything. But what he goes over in that book is that now the poor is really the middle class, and we know what happened in 2008 and the conditions that happened with that whole financial collapse, which created, and which he called a teetering class, you know, teetering between poverty and just getting by, you know. And it's very important if we're talking about the conditions, and what he was talking about was the conditions of the middle class and the poor, that, you know, is not more so the financial conditions, but it has to do with our state of being and how we're being. What actions are we taking as a result of what we're doing and what we're studying? One of the things that I was talking with this guy earlier, maintenance guy, and we were talking about, you know, the state of our economy and how it's actually going thus far. And I made a comment that, you know, our society and what we view 30 years ago is much different, as far as like when we're talking about job and having job security. It's just not there anymore. It's not there for anybody to work 30 years or 20 years anymore. And nowadays, the key thing that we can do is basically go back to what this country was founded upon: entrepreneurship, you know, straight entrepreneurship. And those are really, if we want our generations to survive, we don't know what's going to bring tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You know, is definitely time for us to teach the younger generation entrepreneurship and educate ourselves first, so that we can teach the future generation. Because I believe that if we don't have entrepreneurship coming, you know, in a few years, we're going to have some very serious issues. Very serious issues. So just wanted to add those thoughts right there. But definitely pick that book up if you haven't read it. Very important read, I think. And talk soon.